Hello, hello. Welcome to BitcoinCenter.
It's we're a front for something.
What?
Everybody's a front.
Oh.
Um,
Who's not an agent?
and you do drive by certain retail outlets and you wonder how they keep the money going. There was in my old
Oh,
my
right.
old town.
Well, dude, Miami, when I was just down there,
Yeah,
we were literally sitting in this like restaurant the size of a club, and there's like 4 of us in there. Giant and high-end food, and we're like, there's no way. And it's kind of like in a back alley and the whole
Sure.
time I'm like, there's no way this thing's surviving
Right.
on food.
Yeah. So what is the point? Now, might not be to lose money. It might just be a front.
Yeah, they might have millions of dollars a day in sales, as far as we know.
There was a salon in the town I grew up in, very premier spot, and it was never open, but it was a 24-hour salon by appointment only.
Okay.
So I never drove by in the middle of the night to verify if they got these late night customers, but there's usually never anyone there.
Sure.
But welcome back to Bitcoin Center, number 44 live stream, brought to you by Byte Federal. Go bank yourself.
Check out our ATMs, guys. Go online, Google search a Bitcoin ATM near you, find a Byte Federal ATM, and we'll take good care of you.
What about the wallet?
The wallet,
Can I buy
download.
in the wallet?
You can buy in the wallet. You can smash by, hook your checking account up, smash by Bitcoin. And if you balances get big enough and you want to put it in self-custody, send it to our vault.
Well, this is not financial advice, but if you were to smash by or be DCAing, now's the time.
Now's the time to do it, for sure, right?
What are you thinking? I mean, it seems like, what do you think of the Bitcoin price at $70,000
no, it's definitely, a good time to start accumulating. It's I think if you look at the 200-day moving average, if you look at the power law charts, if you look at any of the metrics, from here until the bottom of the bear market is a good time to be accumulating.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we're down almost 50% from all-time high?
I think we are. Roughly,
or were at some point.
Right. Exactly. 48, 50%. And if you it's never a bad idea to just constantly DCA, but that's what I've tried to do, is DCA at the right time. Turn it on and then turn it off.
Do you think Bitcoin is relevant right now when people talk about, oh, look at Bitcoin, it's up since 60K a few weeks ago, and during this chaotic times with the war in Iran, I kind of think of Bitcoin as probably irrelevant, and that it's had its moves and it might not be reacting necessarily to.
When you say relevant, you mean like
just not big enough or on the world
just
stage,
in the social
to maybe it's not the canary in the coal mine. Maybe it's well, maybe that's not the right phrase. Maybe it's not the thermometer day to day.
Well, I don't know. I think Michael Howell has it right.
Okay.
I don't know if you read Capital Wars Substack, but he doesn't measure global liquidity like a lot of people look at it from the perspective of money supply, or how much money is in existence, or is the Fed printing, or who's printing what. He looks at it. Of course, he's got his own metrics, is the way he measures it, but it has a lot to do with the stability of the underlying collateral, like treasuries, right? And how volatile are treasuries, and the less volatile they are, the more leverage you can run on top of that collateral. And so as treasuries become volatile, or people perceive potential volatility in treasury markets, then that collateral is going to be able to produce less leverage, and then you're going to have lower liquidity. So it's about liquidity and money supply are not the same thing. In fact, money supply has been shrinking while during this entire bear market. Liquidity went up and came down. So Bitcoin still seems very well connected to global liquidity. But I think it's false to just look at the M2 money supply or something like that and say, oh, okay.
What about if someone said, over the weekend, the price of oil went up dramatically, and Bitcoin went up when other things sold off, like the S&P 500, NASDAQ. Maybe that's a coincidence. I don't know if that's caused direct.
No, I mean, that's what I was trying to answer with when you said the canary in the coal mine. Bitcoin was signaling and correlating with an overall decrease in global liquidity. Again, not relative to how much money is China printing or how much money is the US printing, but global liquidity. And I would recommend anybody who's interested to, pay. It's a pretty minor fee to get onto Michael Howell's Substack, Capital Wars, and learn a little bit more about it. But that seems to be Bitcoin saying, "Hey, liquidity is shrinking, and therefore price is going down." And there seems to be a real correlation there, very strong correlation.
And what do you think about liquidity going forward this year?
Well, I don't think. I listened to him. And liquidity from what he's been showing recently, right? We did get a little bump up in liquidity, which is normal going into tax season from his report, because they try and make the banks fairly flush because they're anticipating a lot of money market withdrawals to pay taxes. And so he did predict, and we saw a bump in liquidity. And maybe that's why Bitcoin reacted the way it did, despite everything that's happening in the world. But then again, now recently, and the one I read this morning, right, it's starting to roll back over again. So, that's liquidity has its own cycle, right? Its own 4 to 5 year cycle, which seems to work really well with the Bitcoin cycles.
What did you make of BlackRock? I think it's BlackRock, the private credit. They prevented withdrawals.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, to me, what's happening in the private credit markets is a little bit reminiscent of what was happening in the great financial crisis with collateralized mortgage obligations, right? Where people just sort of woke up one day and said, wait a minute, my house is worth what now? Right? So in these funds, or where there's a lack of liquidity, a lack of transparency, where you're not marking to market every day, because of the nature of the assets in the fund being private, you can just wake up one day and all of a sudden be like, oh, it was worth X and now it's worth negative XXX or zero, because you can't pull any money out. And we've seen, when I was in TradFi and we were managing money, we would not participate in any of these funds at all if they had that kind of market exposure.
Right.
And unfortunately, people will put a lot of money in those programs because they're reaching for yield. And if you're reaching for yield into something that is not liquid and not mark to market daily, that you can't get out of when the S hits the fan, this is what happens.
Right. You are the yield.
You are the yield. Exactly. Yep.
They start yielding.
I mean, we've seen this before, and I think this is really going to come bite some people in the butt for sure.
Yeah, something I've seen, and I'm trying to reflect on. Do you think that this moment is similar at all to COVID?
No, I don't. And I guess, are you asking that because you're anticipating that's going to correlate to?
So two ways of reasons I ask. One, some people have said, "Oh, this feels like February 2020," and we could have sort of, remember, because in March,
March 12th, like in regards to like a realization that there's a real problem. Is that what you're getting at? Like all of a sudden you wake up and go like, oh, the flu's over there, and now it's here.
That's the other side of it. Maybe it's sort of the coordinated, not real problem. So some people have referred to as like we have this economic moment that feels similar to February 2020, and they're waiting for the S to hit the fan because of the Strait of Hormuz and.
But I don't. It just doesn't feel like COVID to me at all.
Well, it feels. One aspect I'm looking at it though is it coordinated? Like COVID felt very coordinated when, in retrospect, sure. All, and Iran participated in the vaccine rollout. I'm not trying to get into the science and all of that, but most of what I've noticed also, maybe my mic just came on there, but what I've also noticed is. There's not a lot of live footage from this war. Like when it seemed like even in 1993 with Iraq, you turn on your TV, it would just be live footage right in front of you.
Right.
That was the novelty of that war, but there's just not. Everything seems like excerpts or clips or things that happened.
That's an interesting insight, though. But
and a lot of this war, to me, what I'm seeing is all fought. I'm not saying real things aren't happening on the ground.
Yeah.
But the outcome, it all seems to be fought through narratives and through.
Well, to me, if you're not seeing a lot of media, that means it's probably more of a real war.
I'm not saying you're seeing none.
No, I know, but that to me, it'd be like a high level of media participation to show you gruesome images, to show you things, to try and excite you and get you upset about the war. That would be the media's role in making the war more dramatic than it needs to be. So the media not showing you a lot or not participating in this might be that it's more of a real war because they're not there to beat the drums and to make you make you have an emotional reaction to it. So, and it's not the war of the friend of the media either, right? Like, why would they give?
Well, right. So then part of that is how much are we getting is reality versus framing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Either way it's going, right?
Yeah. So if that's the way you're looking at it from the COVID perspective, right? This seems to be to me more real in regards to just resetting and putting pressure on different countries to negotiate the new global order.
Right. But through coordinated outcomes or not coordinated outcomes. So
it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, it's probably both.
Coordinated outcomes or not coordinated pushing towards hopefully achieving similar outcomes, right? Or different things.
Right. The World Health Organization orchestrating what they wanted to have in the future, orchestrating a catastrophic event in order to get the outcomes they wanted.
Correct.
Right. So this might be similar in that regard, but it's not global. It's much more fragmented in regards to resetting the global structure, where COVID was what seemed to be an effort to globally unite under the World Health Organization, under
I'm not
a new global order.
I get some of the distinctions there. Doesn't mean we don't know what we don't see here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, is this going to be like Iraq? And again, we bring up 1993, where we get into something where it's never ending, or and how many because it seems like both parties are. I shouldn't say. I
don't. My impression at this point in time is that it is not like Iraq, and it's not going to be. There's right. This war is not about the incentive of having a never-ending war. The incentive of this war is to force negotiation and reset the global order. That's why I'm looking at it.
Right. And so you look at pieces like Lloyd's of London and City of London and the Strait, insurance.
And insurance.
And oil flows.
Right. Fertilizer flows, helium for chips, all of those things that, by putting our Navy at that juncture in the Strait of Hormuz, where we are now the gatekeeper, we now have a very powerful negotiating tool.
That's if we're successful.
Because
the framing you could look at framing right now and you get very different projections on outcomes right now by analysts online, and not a lot of live footage to make your own decisions.
Sure, but who's going to come take out our Navy? Who's going to challenge us in that regard, and what would they benefit from challenging us? Like, they would escalate to a level where it's detrimental to everybody, as opposed to if you let America control the Strait of Hormuz and you then come to the table to negotiate for a settlement that is aligned with maybe these back office negotiations that maybe China and Russia and the United States and others had even before the war, before they even executed. So maybe there is some planning, like you're saying, in regards to the way COVID seemed to be a pandemic. Maybe there is some planning here but it's applying pressure on people that may not have wanted to negotiate previously. And you know, I mean,
but that could have
like,
unintended
do you
outcomes.
think
Correct? I mean,
Russia's upset that Ukraine is going to pay more for oil? Do you think Russia's upset that the price of oil is going up? Do you think China wants to go into World War III with the United States and destroy its number one customer? Like, there's like, it seems to be, to me, strategic and tactical in order to force the negotiations that Trump wants to have in resetting the global order.
and then do you think then how did domestic politics fit into that? Midterms.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We'll see. I mean, if you know, if he can get this thing wrapped up before then, or if he doesn't, let's say he doesn't. Let's say it does.
Inflation?
Let's say it does escalate. Let's say the price of oil spikes to $150, $200 a barrel. Which I don't think is going to happen, but let's say it did, and you went into a recession. I mean, obviously, you know, he's going to point fingers at one person or another, and we're going to have more of a great financial crisis, kind of like we got to react with stimulus and we got to react with money printing. And the closer you do that to the midterms, then you won't have the inflation until 12 to 16 months out after that.
Do you think we're close to a big print before the midterms?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And because number one, like, if you look at the amount of treasuries that the Federal Reserve has let fall off their balance sheet and how much they've reduced that, they do have a lot of capacity for a print. But I think, and I know we're going to talk about this with Warsh, but I think what we're going to see is a lot of coordination between the Treasury and the Fed to unite a united front around, again, applying this pressure to reset the global order and to keep people on the dollar system. So they want to get the stable coins up and running. They want the Clarity Act passed. They want to get all that in place. They want to have these negotiations forced partially by the war and their control of the Strait of Hormuz. They want to try and, you know, interject themselves into this creation of a gold settled currency that's happening in the BRICS. And even if that does succeed, if the gold settled BRICS unity or whatever with, you know, trade agreements succeed, they still want to have Western partners using dollar stablecoins. So this is part of setting that new table, right? Who's our friends and who's not, and in the next recession, who's getting stablecoins and who's not, and you know, so you know, you know, it's kind of like saying, you know, pick your team. Whose side are you gonna play on? And I think Trump's forcing all that, partially forcing that through this war. So I don't think he has the incentive or the desire for this to be a long-term war that leads to
do you think
hard times and a lot of inflation. I think he'd rather see it get wrapped up fairly quickly. You know, I mean, think of all the negotiations that'll be happening in regards to rebuilding contracts, security contracts, new logistics programs for who's getting what resources from what part of the world, what currency you're on. I mean, there's so much to go into this stuff. And the war puts it all, you know, when you have the risk of this lasting a long time, you have the risk of the never-ending war, you're incentivized to negotiate and try and get this thing wrapped up as quick as possible.
Don't you think Iran is incentivized to just to keep this going for as long as possible, just kind of exert pressure asymmetrically, you know, on the regional allies?
Yes, I think they do. I think I think their incentive is to, well, if you're going to take us out, we're going to try and take everybody down with us. But I don't think they'll be successful in that. I could be wrong.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But that's what the playing field looks like to me right now. But I could wake up tomorrow and have a totally different opinion.
Strong opinions held loosely. All right, let's get into BitcoinCenter. Let's roll the intro.
let's be real, right? Praising Telegram for launching a Bitcoin wallet. I've always felt like Bukele.
Bitcoin, this digital currency that's out there that people say, oh, it might be the next big thing. What do you think?
I think it's rat poison.
Bitcoins. You never heard of them a few weeks ago? Now everybody's talking about them, but is it a currency?
I don't know. Or is it more like a stock? Or is it a tulip bulb?
Or is it
We're going to
just
debate that.
Stupid.
To me, it smells like Ponzi scheme and the greater fool theory, right?
Do like 5 minutes of freaking research.
Well, good. Thanks for coming to my set talk.
Yes.
Don't buy shitcoins. Oh man, I always get that wrong. All right. Bitcoin's recent rally. Do you agree? Is crypto finally dead? Go to the next one.
Matter of fact, they're kind of in the Ethernet. What are they?
Some rumors that it's this Japanese guy, but others say no, that he's a fake name. It was a pseudonym. I mean, you're literally putting real money onto a system that we don't even know who created it.
It will come to a bad ending.
Is this the most exciting bull run ever?
Not for me. No, it's not.
Welcome to BitcoinCenter, the fast-paced show where the debate is the story.
I'm comfortable to say out loud, I'm buying Bitcoin left and right the last 48 hours because I'm cost averaging out. Yeah. It was $1.25. It's 68,000. It can go down to 30,000. If I said here right now, y'all, you have to buy Bitcoin, and you guys aired this tomorrow, I'm sure you have a process, but if you did, and it goes from 68 to 42, people are gonna be mad at me, but I'm saying 68 buy now for 13 years from now.
Right.
Yeah. Gary V.
Yeah, he's got to figure it out.
Yeah, I think he's right on there. I've always been thought of him as a little bit of a. I don't follow his advice to the T. I don't think he's like that. But
what's his other advice?
I just think he's he's just a consummate salesman, and he just latches on to whatever is hot and trendy.
Okay.
And I think he's kind of good at.
Well, he's latching on to Bitcoin right now when it's not hot and trendy.
He's talked about Bitcoin for a long time.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So I think he kind of gets the cycles, and he sees the value play.
Is that how you accumulate Bitcoin? You DCA?
As much as I can, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
My savings.
Yeah.
And whenever I have free cash flow, that's not going to put into bills and things like that, you know.
Yep. 100%.
Way to go.
Yeah.
If I was buying Bitcoin.
Be like Gary.
Yeah, be like Gary.
DCA, baby.
I want to play this clip from Ron Paul. You're a big Ron Paul fan, aren't you?
No, I love Ron Paul.
We stand for sound money. You can't have sound money unless you investigate, understand, and realize the power that is wielded by a system of government where you have fiat money. Well, can't you audit them and find out what's going on and participate in it? Oh, sure. It's when they talk about independence. No, we can't let anybody audit and know about what's going on because the Fed wants independence. There's one word that you can use. Anybody ever tells you that, well, don't you think they ought to be independent? The word they use for independent is secrecy. That's what they want. But I was always, and some people, I've had a criticism, why don't you just talk only about ending the Fed, none of this audit stuff? I said, yeah, but the audit's a step. And if we ever got a true audit, what would the people in this country do? They would end the Fed if they knew what was going on.
We don't have more politicians.
Dude, Ron Paul is so great.
Ron Paul.
And that guy's we're going to be watching clips from that guy when we're his age. Because he's so on point and on the money. And he saw it before so many people. And he was beating the drum when most people were like, what is this crazy guy talking about? Why would you want to end the Fed?
Sincere.
But he's great. No, he's dead on.
Do you think there's anyone serving right now in office that gets
Comes
the sound
close?
money thing and is sincere?
I think, I don't know. Okay, so when Kennedy spoke in Nashville, it was evident that he understood Bitcoin. And it was evident that he understood the difference between Bitcoin and fiat and how Bitcoin could change the fiat system. So I think he gets it. Does he? But I also think, He only
Getting
has
it and wanting change are different.
no.
things,
I
though.
think he's supportive. I think
fighting
he's
for
very
change,
supportive
yeah.
of the change because I think he sees, just like the way he fights the drug companies and the FDA. I think he sees that this is the right thing for people. He seems sincere about it. He's not in a position where he can do anything about it.
Sure.
But he seemed certainly to understand it. And as far as if you're going to say, is there anybody there that gets it? I would say he gets it.
Let's go on to this clip with Lummis.
It's called the de minimis exemption, and the number that is being looked at by House Ways and Means and Senate Finance is right around $300 as a de minimis exemption. But the challenge is trying to figure out how you can use Bitcoin as a means of exchange without paying a capital gains tax on it. So we're trying to figure out how to weigh the appropriate way to decide when a sale of, for example, a Bitcoin should be subject to capital gains and when it should be allowed to be used as a simple means of exchange the same way we use the U.S.
What do you think? Do you think this is actually going to get through?
No, I don't.
You don't?
And I think if it did for $300, I don't think that's.
And is that going to be $300 per transaction or per person that you transact with?
I think it's per person per year.
Yeah, because that's the way de minimis exemptions work right now with the IRS, right? Like if you could pay somebody under $600 and.
Right. So, but I don't think they'll give it the same status as the dollar and say you can pay someone this and have no capital gains. And I think even if it was $600,
it doesn't move the needle enough.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I could buy one.
Yeah, because I think they were saying 300, right?
I mean, a Big Mac is $600.
Right.
So it's like you can't even buy. It's not like you're gonna be getting a hotel room for 2 nights.
Now that means you could spend $600 at McDonald's, and you could spend $600 at Walmart, and you could spend $600 and not pay tax on all of that.
It's not $600 per person per year.
I don't know. Is it?
Well, that's my.
I thought it was like per. I'm thinking of it like the IRS, like where you could pay.
Like
you could pay like a vendor. You could pay, a supplier. If you're paying them under $600 for a service, you don't have to like send them a 1099.
Sure.
I thought it was when I heard the word de minimis. That's what made me think about it, or made me think about it that way.
But almost non-commercial use. Because
I don't know. There's so much. There's so much there that we don't understand. Like we don't have enough information to even.
Right, but to me, it's not a big sandbox that they're building, even if they did it.
Well, yeah, but if it's $300, say per Walmart, per Steak and Shake, per wherever they're accepting Bitcoin, and you had a lot of vendors that started accepting Bitcoin. It could be significant amount of spending in the year that you could do without being taxed, which would be great.
I think, but it's the kind of spending where, again, you have to think twice in your head in the sense of, was I at Walmart this year?
No, I know. It's like, it's going to be,
okay, none of those stores, none of these stores I spend, because when you go to Walmart, you spend a few $100.
Well, there's an opportunity for AI to create an app to track your spending per vendor.
I don't think these are user-friendly.
No, it's a start though. It's a start.
I don't have a lot of certainty they're going to have success, and they've been campaigning on it for a long time. They've raised a lot of funds on that. I have seen most politicians spend a lot more time on stable coins than this making Bitcoin on money and treated like money. So I think it's it's campaign bluster, I feel.
Well, I agree. I think you hit on something really smart there, is that I think none of this stuff really is going to get the attention of the political sphere until we get stable coins. They want stable coins in the Clarity Act across the finish line. Once that's done, then they'll start entertaining this.
I don't think they're coming running back to this. That's my point.
Yeah, probably right.
I just and let's talk about stable coins then. Do you think? I think stable coins are going to maybe win this fight to be able to provide yield. Well,
you mean to get yield in like crypto exchanges and stuff like that?
Yeah. And then
it sounds like they're going to get some sort of acceptance.
At the beginning of it, I didn't think they were going to win this fight, but I think if they don't win it now, they win it later.
Well, I mean, look at you put stable coins in banks, they're going to be like, you give stable coins to crypto exchanges and wallets, they're going to be like, go find customers all over the planet. Let's go. Right. So they need it in exchanges because they need to drive adoption globally. Right. So, I think if they only let the banks play with it, they're gonna be very disappointed in their ability to do with the dollar what they want to do.
Right. So now you got this fight over yield and whether it's just going to be on deposit at the bank or if stable coins can issue yield, and stable coins are backed by treasuries. But meanwhile,
meanwhile, Kraken now just got Federal Reserve access. There's a special purpose something or other.
And they're doing 24/5 stock trading with NASDAQ, I think.
I mean, Revolut got a banking license. BitGo got a banking license. I mean, it seems like every day I open up, X, there's a new crypto company that's going after a banking license or has one.
Right.
And so they're going to be able to cross that threshold and be able to pay yield on stablecoins. And they're super incentivized to put stablecoins in the hands of users all over the world.
Right. And meanwhile, both parties are, here we got Strategy issuing yield.
Yeah.
It's not U.S. Treasury backed. It's over collateralized in Bitcoin, but I think he's been smart to stay quiet on this particular front because he's quietly doing it. And so they're arguing over something that's already happening.
Yes, but it's not, I mean,
framing context. But
Michael Saylor's high yield Bitcoin collateralized funds or, preferreds are not going to be sitting in individual, at least not in the near future, sitting in
treasuries.
No, it's not. Yeah, right. It's not going to be a stable coin that bought a treasury with then being delivered globally.
Bitcoin, and it's providing.
Yeah, I mean, he's going after any money market fund, but it's not going to be a unit of account that's going around the world, right? So it's just a different. It's a different vector for yield.
Yeah, but it seems like yield is the thing holding up the market structure bill.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah.
All right. White House officially nominates Kevin Warsh for Fed chair.
Yeah.
What do you know about him?
Just what I've heard. I mean, he seems to be, like I said earlier, very much aligned with working with the current administration to achieve their goals. I don't think that means interest rates going lower anytime soon. Just because, I mean, if there's a crisis, of course, all bets are off the table. But I do think he's going to be aligned with all the other creative ways that they can create liquidity. The SBR, SAB 122, funding, trying to figure out how to get more mortgage liquidity and lower rates in the mortgage markets. So I think there's going to be, the recent liquidity we saw was a lot of money being pumped into the repo markets. So I think we're going to get a lot of QE not QE. And I think he's going to work hand in hand with Secretary Bessent at the Treasury level to make that happen. But I don't think it's going to be all out like, okay, I'm now the Fed chair, so rates are going to zero and I'm going to print money like mad. That's not going to happen.
Do you think Powell's going to lower rates once before he leaves?
I have no idea.
And so you don't think Kevin Warsh comes in lowering rates?
That's not my base case. No.
What's the?
If something, yeah, I think he does. But have you heard him pounding the table a lot about that lately? No. And I think there's so many ways to add liquidity to the system without dropping interest rates and keeping interest rates higher while we're applying pressure in these negotiations globally is also like high rates applies pressure to London. Locking down the Straits of Hormuz and taking away the insurance, that's pressure on London. Moving LIBOR to SOFR, that's pressure on London. Taking out the cartels and their flows into the money laundering banks in London, that's pressure on London, right? It's like, it's just over and over and over again where you see that this, there's a chess game being played where it's constantly putting pressure on people that don't want to negotiate with us.
Right.
And I think you can look at Trump as like the mob boss and the city of London as a different mob boss, and they're warring over who's going to control the territory, right? Trump seems to be winning right now. We'll see.
Yeah, but didn't he run on sort of? I mean, he ran as being the peace president.
Sure.
And this is something I've but one.
So you believe it when he?
Honestly, I don't believe anything he says. I find him funny though, but I'm trying to think deeply on these things. Can you have peace if you have enemies on the board who are conspiring against you?
Well, yeah, it's just like the mob. You have peace through power and control. And then when that perception of who's in charge is weak, or you don't like the way they're taking the entire organization, then you're going to get warring mob bosses that say, no, we're taking out this guy. We're going to take over. I think that's what's happening. It's not really, I mean, it's not that much different, other just the playing field's much bigger than, your city or your state, right? It's a global playing field, and it's a global mob.
What do you think we have the potential for sleeper cells here domestically?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, we do. We'll see how good we do. We used to fight them over there, so we didn't have to fight them here. I don't know how much of that was true either.
Right. I don't know.
Who knows?
All right. We got to play this clip from Michael Saylor. He keeps buying.
Go, Michael.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm back for MSTR's buy number 102. 2 weeks ago, I called out buy number 100 for being underwhelming, only 592 Bitcoin. Last week, 3,000 Bitcoin. Solid. This week, Michael Saylor just bought 17,994 Bitcoin for $1.28 billion at an average price of $71,000 a coin. Their holdings now stand at 738,731 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. The funding came $900 million from the MSTR common stock and $377 million from STRC preferred equity. Amazing amplification. Over $1.2 billion was deployed into Bitcoin in just a single week. Bitcoin's currently trading near 68,000. Saylor bought above the current prices, and he bought big. To put 17,994 Bitcoin into perspective, let's talk about Riot Platforms. Riot is the second largest Bitcoin miner by treasury holdings. They've been mining Bitcoin for years, since 2017. They've been stacking every sat they produced recently. Strategy just bought more Bitcoin in 1 week than Riot holds in their entire treasury. That's not a slight to Riot. They're a legendary Bitcoin mining company. But this is a flex. This is Michael Saylor saying, you question buy number 100? Watch this. 18,000 Bitcoin, 1 week, one company. Now, let's talk about what just happened to the supply vacuum. Look at this chart. The orange line is Strategy's cumulative purchases. The black line is total mined supply, and that gap just exploded. This week, Strategy bought 18,000 Bitcoin, while miners produced only 3,150 Bitcoin. That's 571% of the weekly mining supply. Saylor absorbed 5.7 times the entire world's Bitcoin production in just 1 week. Year to date, Strategy has now accumulated 66,000 plus Bitcoin, while miners have produced only 30,000 Bitcoin this year. They're buying 2x the mining rate, and that gap just widened. Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm back for MSTR's buy number 102. 2 weeks ago, I called out buy number 100 for being underwhelming, only 592 Bitcoin. Last week, 3,000 Bitcoin.
All right.
I'm glad he's buying bottoms and not tops anymore.
Yeah, but after buying a lot of tops, I mean, he's
averaging down. What is his average price right now? Do you know?
Well, so now I think he's finally below his average price. I think it was around 76.
Okay. Cool.
It's not far below his average price.
I like to see them. I like to see him accumulating lower. That's great.
That is great.
I'm not a holder. I don't participate in these things. I want to own real Bitcoin, but apparently so does he. And he's making big buys as the price is dropping. Good for him.
Yeah,
that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. What happens though?
Where's your 17,000 Bitcoin buy?
17,000.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, There was a moment, I think about 3-4 months ago, where we were trying to figure out if they were going to have to eke out little buys each week to be consistent. Where were they going to find the new flows? And there's a part of, I'm wondering, you know, are they spending all their bullets now? I don't know what their outlook is. It seems like Stretch doing phenomenally well at the moment. It's holding par. It's raising new cash. These buys. This was a huge buy.
Plus, he's got. I've seen a number of announcements where funds, sovereigns, etc., are buying sovereign wealth funds, and other investment companies are buying his shares.
Yeah, and so it's not him buying the Bitcoin. They go to shareholders.
Yep,
I get that. Where it was one thing, I think, throughout the journey of 2025 to think about OGs finally getting 6-figure liquidity. People have been holding 12, 13, 14, 15 years. But at some point, I thought that would be exhausted. Is it sentiment, and this is outflows from the ETFs, and
I haven't kept track of how much
from retail to institutional.
I haven't kept track of who's selling. Are there still big OG whales selling? I mean, I know. I would assume it's slowed down.
I wonder how much of this selling is government insiders suppressing price, either through spot Bitcoin.
Yeah, it could be.
You know, offloading old wallets that they had discreetly, or paper Bitcoin.
I don't know that it's much different than any other bear market, but except for the numbers being bigger.
No, but during prior bear markets, you didn't have announcements of a buy of 1.2 billion,
right?
Doubling the output of new minted Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that's a big difference, and you don't have 12. We never had 12 nation states mining Bitcoin in the background during prior bear markets. At least maybe we don't go as low as we have in the past. Maybe we don't go 70% down. Yeah,
maybe we don't. It all remains to be seen, but it just, you know, he's got the gunpowder and he's still buying. You can't
love to see.
You can't slight anybody for buying Bitcoin cheap.
No.
So keep it up.
Yeah.
Hope it works out, man.
Here's another smart cookie. Let's play this clip from Jeff Walton.
We're in a digital gold rush. Well, over the next 4 to 8 years, we think institutional adoption increases drastically. We think sovereign adoption increases drastically. We think digital credit starts to permeate throughout the rest of the market. Because of those dynamics, you've got even the Bitcoin ETF being the most successful ETF in history. That success is going to breed more success, and it already has. So because of those dynamics, the macro environment, we see probably the next 4 to 8 years between a 30 to 50% compound annual growth rate for Bitcoin. And we think that will start to taper off as economies of scale and large economies of scale start to come into play. Once Bitcoin's at a $10 trillion asset, it's probably going to be significantly less volatile, and the compound annual growth rate will be reducing over time into the future.
But you think we get 30 to 50% over the next decade?
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Right. I mean, you look at the last 7 years, and it's been like 70% compound annual growth rate. Even in 2022 is at 16,000, and we're at 90,000 right now. What is that? That's
a lot.
Yeah, right. Like annualize that. That's 70, 80% probably. And I don't think it takes a lot of capital to move it much higher.
So one of the interesting things in the treasury world is that, like, when
trying to figure out when that clip is from.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Strategy World.
Do you?
Because didn't they just have a Strategy World recently? I think they did. I bet you it was from that.
I didn't see that on. I'm trying to look in the feed for what Bitcoin did, and I don't see it.
What do you think about that, Kager? You think that's realistic?
I do. I am starting to, looking at the gold ETF and where the price of gold went, though, when the gold ETF was launched.
Okay.
And and obviously there's a lot of shenanigans, corruption, and paper manipulation in gold, and there's huge paper to gold ratios. I think it's like what 100 or something, 100 to 1 per ounce. But gold stagnated after the ETF launched.
Yeah.
And not your keys, not your market price. I just wonder how
What
much.
year was the gold ETF launched? Do you know?
Early 2000s. I don't know offhand.
One of the things that I think is significantly different right now about the world is if we're truly moving to a multipolar world, which I believe we are, there's going to be a significantly higher desire for real assets where you have control and you have custody. I think we're just in general over the next couple of decades moving away from a world that's trust me, bro, and more into a world where it's like, I got mine. We're going to be strategically okay, regardless of whatever happens. I'm not going to rely on the U.S. financial system, treasuries, the dollar, et cetera. I'm going to have a backup plan. And even the United States is saying we got to focus on real world assets, right? We've got to have, I don't mean tokens, right? I mean gold, oil, silver, copper, minerals, lithium, on and on and on, right? So this shift to controlling your supply chain, controlling your assets, having custody, having real ownership, I think it makes complete sense in a multipolar world. And that's where Bitcoin is the first digital asset that's commodity-like, where you can have true ownership. And so I don't think it's going to follow like a similar path to the gold ETF in the past, just because there will be this group of sovereigns, and I think they will evolve over time to being comfortable with self-custody and then demanding a certain portion of their holdings being self-custody, controlled at the sovereign state level.
Do you think that's like, besides institutions and nation states, do you think that's 10 or 20% of the population that are going to self-custody their wealth?
Oh, yeah.
Or you're talking about 80%?
No, I think like at the everyday person level, I think it's going to stay low.
Right.
But I think all these state actors, which are now like buying exposure through the ETF or custodying at Coinbase or doing like that, like they're going to figure this out and they're going to move those coins into their own storage. It just makes sense. Like, why would you risk? You've already got your treasuries taken away. Why would you risk like Treasury percent or whatever administration's in power saying, hey, Brian, yeah, you got to lock down those Bitcoin. They're not going out. Like, right? Like, so if you're a sovereign country and you want to have your own wealth in your own hands, you're going to take self-custody. And I think those are going to be big, big bags of Bitcoin held in self-custody.
Do you think the United States government is secretly buying Bitcoin right now?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Under what method?
I hope so. I hope they are.
So
for my sake, since I live here,
they're not. I mean, they literally announced to the world that it's.
But I mean, look at the way China orchestrated gold for the last, gosh, I don't know, 5 to 7 years. It's been telling their population, invest in gold, invest in gold. They've given them every little easy outlet that they can to get their population to accumulate gold. While what are they doing? They're mining gold. They're buying foreign gold. They're secretly adding gold. At some point when they reprice gold in China, or they just get the price up to where they want it, they will have now a population with wealth to consume. Right? That's like, they need to replace the U.S. customer with Chinese residents that are wealthy that will buy local. Right? So I think the U.S. could be engineering the same thing. Be pro Bitcoin, be pro stablecoin, get your population on these digital assets, and not worry about really repricing Bitcoin until down the road. Once you've gotten your affairs in order, once you've reset the global order, you've got stablecoin infrastructure out there. Now let's run Bitcoin and let's make all of our people wealthy that have accumulated it. And now we've got a thriving thriving economy again. People have money to spend. They're feeling wealthy. Just like, I mean, it's the same thing real estate did for the U.S. economy, right? We ran the housing boom for 40, 50 years seems to have come somewhat or coming to an end. Replace that with Bitcoin, and you're kind of engineering the same thing, right? Where people have a bunch of wealth and digital assets, and this then drives their ability to consume and borrow. And so I think they're trying to do something similar.
Yeah. Well, there's only 1 million Bitcoin remaining to be mined.
Yeah.
Let's
get it while you can.
Just came out with the report. I mean, does this come down to? Are you blowing up?
Oh, it is me. Sorry.
But with the institutions and the corporations buying more Bitcoin than is minted every day,
mm-hmm.
and there's only 1 million Bitcoin left to be mined.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that is a signal to the market in the way a lot of people think the halving is a signal to the market? Do you think the halving is going to be a signal to the market the way people have thought it was in the past, or is that all correlated to liquidity?
I mean, I think that the halving is still relevant to the market because of the difficulty in mining. So miners will tend to sell their holdings in order to finance new equipment, pay power bills, etc. And so the halving, making it more difficult to mine, having the hash rate increasing continually, I think that puts pressure on these miners to liquidate coins, and therefore you get these. You're still going to have these cyclical events, right?
Right.
And that's going to take place regardless of how many more Bitcoin are left to mine, right? Like the new supply coming on the market is becoming less and less relevant, but the mining difficulty is not. That's probably more relevant today than it was. Like your equipment and your ability to be a profitable miner is rapidly depleting, and probably more important to the cycles of Bitcoin than the supply. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm just going to watch it all play out. I don't know. I just, I think it's tough living in the future, waiting for the rest of the world to catch up.
Yeah.
And, that could, put blinders on you a little bit. I'm just trying to be objective. And what do you think the U.S. government could take a stake in MicroStrategy?
Yes.
As a way to kind of
yes.
be acquiring at these prices.
Absolutely.
Now.
We're seeing them do that with Intel and others, right? I mean, what they nationalized didn't they nationalize some of the utilities in California recently, or they're about to?
I don't know.
I think they're about to, because Gavin Newsom wants to, or has been actively shutting down like refineries in California. And that's a national security threat. So I think Trump's going to take them over. So and then the investment they made in Intel, if it becomes national security threat, then yeah, there'd be no problem for the state to just buy shares of MicroStrategy.
Well, Intel,
then it becomes de facto X% becomes part of their reserve, right?
Do they just issue new shares and dilute current shareholders? Does the government pay for these and print money? Like, how does that work?
Who knows? I don't know. I mean, everything the government buys is out of printed money.
And
I mean, even your tax dollars are printed money.
That would, I think, allow you to roll it out slower, your announcement or move to a Bitcoin standard or repricing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could be. But there again, I mean, just having like how much, like I don't know, it's just some huge percentage of IRS revenue comes from capital gains tax, the base from the investments in Wall Street. So, if you want to have a thriving economy in the future, you need your population in a democracy to be wealthy. The wealthier they are, the more they'll spend and the higher they'll pay in taxes. And, that drives it. So I think they're as concerned, not as much concerned about having a strategic Bitcoin reserve as they are with having people holding this asset before it becomes a strategic reserve.
Right. They don't need to buy something they're never going to sell. They need the people to be wealthy.
Yeah, exactly. So that when they buy it, they move the needle on the wealth within the population, right? So I think That's the order of operation.
Right.
You've seen it happen before with housing in the United States. You've seen it happen with China and gold, and it's going to happen here with Bitcoin. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Right. And then do you think countries then so is that the playbook? Roll out the ETF, roll out a micro strategy, a meta planet if you're Japan? I mean, is this sort of the way you get it into the hands of your population?
Yeah, I mean,
is this country by country that way? And we could kind of decipher who's in on it through sort of where these companies are popping up, maybe?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're 100% right.
Okay, what did you make of Bukele? I mean, didn't he just come to Florida?
I didn't know.
And
I haven't heard
he met
about
with
this.
Bessent.
Oh, I had no idea.
And I was like, it's so interesting.
What
to
happened?
me.
What is there any?
Well, there was a
publicity?
conference, I think, about some sort of Latin American economic forum.
Okay.
But he came and I saw a photo op with him and Bessent.
Okay.
And to me, that's extremely telling of just sort of the blessing of what Bukele is doing there in various ways. I mean, maybe they don't like everything, but they're giving him a thumbs up.
I mean,
he's allowed on U.S. soil.
I think he was the test dummy for this entire thing that we're going through now. With hey, look, I can eliminate MS-13. I can clean up my streets. I can get people safe and happy and the economy going again. We can use Bitcoin. We can use stable coins. We have a digital asset law. And Trump just seems to be starting to run that playbook on a much bigger scale, on a global platform, trying to take out the cartels, trying to stop crime, trying to, that cuts off money flowing to people that are anti your interest. And I don't know. I've always seen what was happening in El Salvador as the, let's see if we can make this work. And if this works, let's run it.
Yeah, I didn't see it as wide as you did. I saw it just around the money.
Yeah.
I didn't see it around the crime and sort of the criminal justice policy and other things like that. That's interesting.
Yep.
All right. This has been a fantastic episode of Bitcoin Center. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're enjoying the show, please hit like and subscribe. Tune in every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Not everyone's on daylight savings time, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you are,
some people are just opting out
of what?
Even if their area acknowledges it, they just don't look at the clock or don't change their clocks or go on with their days.
That's a nice lifestyle.
Yeah.
I opt out when I'm fishing.
There you go. All right. I don't know if we have any questions or comments. We can roll the outro.
Peace.
Peace out. See you next week.
Dude, I'm